In the final seconds of a championship game, two athletes may face the same physical task, yet the results often differ drastically. One performs flawlessly, while the other, in sports terms, chokes. This phenomenon suggests a striking truth. Elite sports are rarely decided just on the physical ability alone. Instead, the brain decides them. We spend billions on gear and training, but we often ignore the most important piece of equipment, the 3-pound biological computer between our ears. Today, I want to explore the science of this invisible game by analyzing the mechanics of the flow state, the inverted U theory, and the impact of cognitive load. We can understand how the mind either facilitates or sabotages athletic success. To understand peak performance, we first have to look at what happens when an athlete is in the zone. According to the Association for Applied Sports Psychology, this is known as flow, a state of total absorption where performance feels automatic and effortless. But what is actually happening inside the skull? Neurologically, this involves a process known as a transient hypofrontality. Essentially, this is the temporary slowing of the prefrontal cortex, the area of your area responsible for self-critic and analytical thought. Think of it as meeting your inner critic. When that critic shuts off, muscle memory takes over because the brain stops talking to itself. Reaction times become faster and movements become more fluid. A key marker of flow is a distorted sense of time, where hours of intense competition can feel like mere minutes. However, reaching that flow state isn't just about trying harder. In fact, trying too hard is what causes this choke. The American Psychological Association utilizes the Yerkes-Dodson law, also known as the inverted U theory, to explain the relationship between pressure and performance. This theory posits that performance improves as psychological arousal, things like your heart rate, adrenaline increase, but only up to a certain point. You could think of it as a sweet spot at the top of the curve. Peak performance occurs at the top, where an athlete has enough stress to remain sharp, but not so much that they become overwhelmed. If that adrenaline continues to climb past the peak, the athlete enters a panic zone. Muscles tighten, vision narrows, and the brain attempts to manually control movements that should be automatic. This is the physiological definition of choking. While the inverted U theory involves, while the inverted U deals with immediate pressure, we also have to consider what happens our mental fuel. The Journal for Applied Sports Psychology highlights that mental energy is an infinite resource known as cognitive load. Things like a computer, think of it as a computer with limited RAM. If an athlete is preoccupied with scouts, grades, or the fear of failure, they are burning up the RAM needed for the game. Studies show that high mental load can make the body feel 15% more tired than it actually is. To preserve this energy, 2020-26 data shows that elite programs are now using mindfulness to improve control, allowing athletes to filter out these background noises. A major contributor to this is identity foreclosure. This happens when an athlete's entire self-worth is tied with their sport. When being an athlete is your only identity, the pressure of a single game becomes a threat to your entire sense of self, leading to higher stress and eventual burnout. To summarize, the difference between a good athlete and an elite one is found in the management of the mind. Success is found by accessing the flow state to silence the inner critic, maintaining the sweet spot on the inverted U theory, and managing cognitive load to stay fresh. As research shows, the most important piece of equipment is not a ball or a shoe, but the biological computer between the ears. If you can win the invisible game, the visible won't take care of itself.